Before I start this video, I would like to say that this video was voted by my Discord server where I did a poll between a review of Pokemon Let's Go or Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and the majority voted for this. I will probably do things like this in the future, not all the time, as some reviews I may want to keep secret, plus other things as well, so if you want to join my Discord server, the link is in the description. I know this is a plug, but shh. Thanks Discord server, you have failed me. I mean, it's my fault for giving you the option in the first place, but again, shh. Also for those who voted not to trust me, I don't know, have a go scar or something? Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Not the most creative way to start a video, but this game was so boring I couldn't come up with a more interesting way to introduce it. Putting my opinions aside, for now anyway, like I already said, this game was recommended by my Discord server, so I got this game on Amazon and it arrived a few days later. What it came with was 2 amiibos, being the Isabelle and Digby amiibo, 3 amiibo cards, the game, and a pretty neat cardboard scan, which whilst I understand was probably just meant to make it look nicer in the box, it's also a nice way to compare the 2 amiibos, so points there I guess. It is a nice bundle of items, and for only £8 it does come with quite a lot. Although I understand that at the launch of this game it was more like £45, but it's cheaper than some other Choice Life games at the time, like Skylanders Superchargers, which at launch was around £55. Although Skylanders came with a Port of Life, and comparison isn't the greatest critique in this situation, as it isn't judging the quality of the games. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Choice Life genre, where I was when I was a dumb kid who bought a Blue Furby when they were popular and who bought a Wii U in 2015, and as I bought the Switch on launch day, it meant that the Wii U was my newest, I guess you could say, main Nintendo console I was buying for only just a bit more than a year. Wow, thanks so much. I'm so happy that you can cap on my stupidity. Anyway, as I was saying, even though I used to think somewhat positively of the Choice Life genre, now I can see it for what it actually is, a mindless cash grab that hides a bunch of content behind a figurine paywall. I think that's why my favourite Choice Life projects would probably be Skyink and Amiibo. Now I haven't played Skyink, however, I do have to give it props for how it used Choice Life. You could buy the figurines and use them in game, or you could buy the Jigsaw edition, which comes with everything unlocked in order to beat the game. Or you could buy the Jigsaw Deluxe edition, which at launch was only £20 more and it came with everything unlocked. I still don't like how you have to pay an extra £20 to unlock everything, however that's more of a problem with the majority of the gaming market, and the normal Jigsaw edition still comes with everything necessary to beat the game and have a fun time, so it's not that bad. From a business perspective, this is dumb as it means the actual figurines will not say as well, when it's probably much cheaper to do it Jigsaw. However, from a consumer perspective, it has to be respected. Amiibo are also little figurines that unlock things in game, however they apply to a variety of games, not just a specific franchise, and even though they do unlock stuff, what they normally unlock is so minuscule, it doesn't really matter. Most of the time they just unlock a costume, or in Smash Bros a little CPU that you can train up. However, that's just a little extra thing for fun. It's not like anyone really cares about training up a computer player, most just want to actually play the game. And sometimes what they unlock you can get in the game anyway, it just unlocks it a bit earlier. So overall, Amiibo don't really add much to the game, they're just some nice figurines that can add a little bonus. But then there's Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Unlike other games that use Amiibo functionality, this game is a lot more like Skylanders and Disney Infinity, where you need them in order to play the game. Scratch that, open the title screen. I was there pressing buttons, wondering what I was doing wrong, until I read what it said on the screen, telling me I needed to tap down an Amiibo to start even playing the game. I may be over-exaggerating this a bit, making it sound worse than it actually is, but this is such an inconvenience. There's a start button on this controller for a reason, and it doesn't stop there. You need at least one Animal Crossing Amiibo for a character to play as, which isn't too unusual for this type of game, but still, once you're actually in the game, you need to tap down the Amiibo to roll the dice. What's strange is, if you play in multiplayer and don't have enough Amiibos, you can play as a villager, and when you play the game, you don't have to use an Amiibo to roll the dice, you can use a button. I think it becomes hard to argue that the developers didn't do this in order to shove more functionality for the Amiibos at you to try and get you to buy more, but I don't know that, I'm just a dumb 3-year-old, so of course it's fine. Now, I've only skimmed the surface of the board game section, so I should probably talk more about that. With the board game, you go in the board and Animal Crossing Vigs, and it's your job to collect as many happy points as possible. Whoever has the most happy points at the end of the month or after the timer runs out wins. You can get happy points from specific spots you land on, collecting bells which you can buy stuff with, or transferring into happy points at the end of the match, collecting stamps at the 4 exits of the maps which you get a bonus of happy points for collecting all 4 from specific cards or certain rewards. Now each game takes up a month and you can pick between the 12 months of a year, and whilst each month has an aesthetic based on the season they're in, they also have their own specific events based on real-world events like Christmas, Easter, or even certain characters' birthdays. They also have days where specific characters appear, and while every now and again characters appear that I don't always see, for the most part I always get the same 3 Vigors, being Dr. Schwank, Katrina, Weg, and a few more. I guess each visit is slightly different in how they act, but most of them just involve yagging on their specific space which has been created for that day, then going in a cutscene with them and normally getting some sort of reward. Most of the time, these rewards are just cards. Cards are normally just things that give you little bonuses, like an agging number on your next roll, or a custom roll where you can decide which number you land on. Sometimes there are even bonuses on those bonuses, like with Katrina where she can apparently predict your future, which normally means she just gives you a bonus like getting happy points or bells whenever someone rolls a specific number. Now originally I thought that these cards would be the way to access minigames, as on the box it says that the cards can unlock them. I believe that the physical cards would be a way to unlock the extra minigames adding those cards to the game, however that is far from the case. Instead of the minigames being in the main game like how they're implementing in Mario Party, they're instead just put on the iron as little extra distractions. However, my question is, why? The minigames are one of the only ways actual skill can be used in party games, as most of it is yuck-based apart from a few other bits. Again, most party video games in the vein of Mario Party are just based on can you make the correct dice roll to yag on the space you want. However, minigames meant that you could get rewards, not just based on the yuck, but skill and understanding of the minigames. Without them being included in the main game, it means that there is little skill in Amiibo Festival, apart from remembering what direction you can possibly go on the board to get scabs and when is the appropriate time to use your cards. However, that's very basic, and in the case of the cards, the time to use them is very obvious when you can get the best rewards yagging on specific spots, so you use them to get there. I will discuss the actual quality of the minigames later on, however I thought that this issue was quite noteworthy, so to have its own section discussing it. Now yagging on specific spots isn't the only way to collect bells, there's also investing in turnips. Now stick with me here. On Sunday, every week Joan comes round and you're allowed to purchase turnips. The prices of the turnips can fluctuate, so it means you don't want to buy a bunch when they're very expensive. The next day, the stalk market. Let me repeat, the stalk market. Continuing on, the stalk market is revealed, DKing what sorts of prices you're going to be able to sell your turnips for. Then every spot gains a specific turnip price, where 1 turnip equals a certain sum of bells, and you can sell your turnips at the end of your turn. However, the turnips only last a week before going mouldy, meaning you've got to make sure you sell them before Sunday arrives again. I guess it adds a little bit of strategy, where you have to decide how many turnips you're willing to buy for. However, not really, as you only find out what the stalk market is going to be like the day after, meaning you basically have to gamble, hoping that the stalk market is high enough so you can sell your turnips for a big profit. Also, it's complete yuck that the space you land on will also have a high profit, meaning that this process is still mainly yuck with still very little skill. The minigames are okay? They definitely range in quality, however none of them really hold a candle to the majority of Mario Party minigames. Balloon Iron is the first game unlocked without having to spend any happy tickets on. You unlock it by playing the main board game section 2 times. The game is okay. It's easy enough to play, being that you have to touchdown one of your Amiibo cards. These are the physical cards which also act like Amiibos, and your Amiibo appears in the game contribute. You keep the Amiibo card tapped on until you want your character to release, where they will bounce on the balloons for a while, gaining points as you do so before even yagging on the iron or the water. If you yag on the iron, your points will be multiplied by a certain number depending on what part of the iron you land on, and if you yag in the water, you get no points. Repeat this for 3 rounds with slight differences, and then your score gets added up and you get a final score. It's quick to play and you can whack up happy points fast, so that's how I mainly collected happy tickets. The main problem is it isn't much of a creative idea, and due to the game being controlled by the cards, sometimes it wouldn't tell the amiibo card will stay on the gamepad, so it will release my character before I intended to. This only happened occasionally, so it wasn't that bad, just an inconvenience. Acorn Chase is not very good. Okay, it's quite bad. You have to move around collecting acorns, trying to collect all of them, and escape as called giant lawnmowers chasing after you and find your movements. And if you're not fast enough, it will catch up and the game will end. You also have to avoid collecting rotten acorns, else you'll have to start over. Now this may already seem quite bad and unoriginal of a minigame idea, however what makes it worse is to move you have to use the correct amiibo cards courier into the direction you want to go. This is a terrible idea, as in a minigame where you have to be as quick as possible, this just ends up slowing you down. It's not precise at all, as again, occasionally it doesn't read the cards correctly, sometimes not moving when I want to or moving too far. You could say that this is my fault for not placing the amiibo cards correctly, however if the game just had a control option that wasn't so awkward and instead one that I was more accustomed to, then problems like this may not have occurred. It makes an already mediocre game even worse. Waseki Bop is a mix of whack-a-mole and rock, paper, scissors? Each card has a rock, paper or scissor sign on them, and with Waseki Bop, each character represents their sign. This means that you only gain points when a character hits a Waseki with a rock, paper or scissor sign that your character's sign can be. I guess it's a pretty cool concept, however the problem is, you can try it using, say it with me, amiibo cards. This isn't too bad this time round, apart from the fact that you have to control 3 characters. Try to control all 3 of them at once, making sure that you're using the correct card at the right time, whilst looking at the screen, seeing which character you should be using at that time, whilst making sure that the Waseki you're hitting is a rock, paper or scissor sign, which yours can get a slightly bit hectic. It's better suited as a multiplayer game, especially if you could actually use the controller's buttons. Mystery Campers, you need 6 amiibo cards to play, and as at the moment I only own the 3 that came with my copy of the game, it means I cannot play it. Amiibo Card Battle also has this problem of me not having enough cards to play, so guess I'll not be able to review them. Quiz Show is a quiz show. You get the questions on the TV and you answer them with the gamepad. All the questions are about Animal Crossing, and because my knowledge of the franchise is far below average, let's just say I'm not too good at it. Overall, it's just a quiz with nothing really interesting about it. In Fruit Path, you collect fruit along the path. Each card has a dice number on them, which in this minigame is how many spaces they will move. You try to collect as many fruits as possible without falling in any potential holes. You have to strategize a bit on what cards you want to use, as even though you can move very far with some cards, it creates a higher risk of you falling in a hole and using points. Desert Island Escape is probably the most in-depth minigame. Your 3 characters are stuck on an island and you have 7 days to try and escape. You go around finding food, gathering supplies that you can craft into certain items like a fishing hook which you can use to get fish and use some food, or a hammer which you can create holes to trap enemies, but if you go where the hole is, you too get stuck in it. You can move a certain amount of spaces, again creating to the dice number on your character's card, and each character has a special ability such as Rosie being able to fish without having to use a fishing rod. After you've moved with all 3 characters, you set up camp on one of the spots where you have been, which is where you can craft stuff and eat and sleep. You start at this spot in the morning and you keep doing this process until you either run out of days, run out of food, or are able to collect all the correct materials to create the boat. And with this minigame, you can actually use buttons. I think this shows how problematic the controls are when I place the game for actually using normal controls. I actually prefer this minigame to the main game. Whilst there is still quite a bit of yuck, you do have to strategize a bit also to make sure you can find the correct parts to build the boat while still trying to create items to make certain things easier, all on top of making sure you have enough food to survive. I feel as if this concept could be expanded upon and created into a pretty fun game. Overall, the minigames are decent. some okay minigames, but most are mediocre or just plain bad, and the bad controls don't help many of them at all. There are a few more features also, such as being able to customize your Borg or being able to change one of the vehicles' names. You can use this vehicle in some minigames or as an extra player. However, with the Borg customization they require happy tickets, which means a lot of grinding for happy points, which I can't be bothered to do, and I expect they wouldn't really change that much aside from how the Borg looks and some of the cutscenes that may play when you land on the space that may have been changed, which does not make the board game section better, and changing the name of the vehicle isn't really noteworthy. I guess it's nice that you could do such things, but it doesn't add much. Overall, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival is a bad game. It was already mediocre with little strategy due to things like no minigames being included in the main game, and it just being plain boring as an actual board game with only a bit of charm when it comes to some of the event spaces. However, this game gets worse, as it is a choice life game that hides content behind the amiibo and goes too far with trying to use amiibo functionality, turning what could have been simple controls into an inconvenience, having to use the amiibo to do even the simplest of commands. Especially in the minigames, which again were already not too great, but these controls just make the minigames even worse, with them not working as well as they could have if they just opted to use buttons instead. I may recommend the package if you're into amiibos or collecting other things such as the amiibo cards, as it is only £8, but if you're just looking to actually play the game, then this game is not recommended.